So guys, welcome back. We are having a really good day. I walked the cable box up, and I walked it up like grandma tippy toes. Luckily, my friend will do pickups, and I only had to pay her $3. So I paid her, and she gave me food, y'all. And she gave me ham. And then I went next door because she saved me so much money. I figured, well, I'll buy like a quick lunch, and I bought lunch from that friend. And I bought like some candy, like a chocolate bat, and a chocolate pumpkin, because I love my Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, so I'm gonna have it, yay. And she threw in some stuff, so Loki got me some goodies. And then I came home and I looked at my mail, and good thing I didn't throw it away, because it was to recertify me for help with my energy. Yeah, somebody else to help keep the lights on at this point. And that was all good. So, good for me. I got, like I said, I did the best I could for the health insurance application. I did the best I could for this electric. And I'll know, like, in about 2 weeks or so, if I'm going to get, help. It's there to help you when, you need help with your services. And they had told me last year I qualified for other stuff, and, like, it never got through. And now, hopefully, this will go through. And I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, with your relationship with Loki, he can run pretty hot and cold, because I've noticed a lot of the questions I get are usually, what did I do wrong? And you didn't do anything wrong. It's just Loki runs hot and cold. He can go from being very warm and affectionate and cuddly to, you did something wrong and you're trying to figure out what it is and he won't tell you. He can jump from wanting one kind of relationship to a completely different kind of relationship. Like, he can go from, being warm and romantic and everything else, and then straight up one day look at you and say, well, I'm your father, and look at you like he's totally offended. And it helps to know that some people think that he is literally, insane, whether you believe this divine stories or he was just always a bit off kilter to begin with, or it's the way of the trickster. He can act absolutely nuts. So it is not you if he is doing something. Trust me, it's not you. He does it to everyone. He does it to me too. Every time you think you have something pushed, figured out, and you have that type of relationship, he'll come up to you and be like, no, I want this kind of relationship. And then you finally, you're like, fine, we can have this kind of relationship. And then he's like, that's not what I want. And it can get very frustrating really fast. You can get like, and think it's you. And there are times he's going to disappear. And there are going to be times that he's mad and you say, what did I do? And you will either get silence or you will get, what you did. And you have no earthly idea. And I can say this, it's like talking to a woman, because he's mad. And you have no idea what you did, but it was bad. And when you have to ask and you don't know what you did, you're in for it, because you don't know. And that just made it worse. And he can show up as a woman, by the way. He can show up as anything he likes. If he felt like showing up as anything, like the Thor movie, I haven't seen it, but apparently it got pretty close to, being a shapeshifter. He can show up like whatever he likes. And he's a very contrary god to deal with. He can go for a fairly long time and be pretty, even killed. And then it's like, I don't say this unlovingly, it's like, the Joker just got out of Arkham and he's going absolutely insane, and you're like, what did I do? It's nothing you did. It's just Loki's nature. I don't know if it comes from having Chaos Association or Trickster Association, or it's just Loki being Loki. Because I've never met another god that acts quite like Loki. I've met other tricksters, and maybe because I haven't worked with them as much as I've worked with Loki, I've never seen any of them just... Well, Legba. If you work with Legba, Papa Legba is just as strange. and there were countless lake boas. And I remember a story of one asking for a bowl of rice in one single chopstick. And of course it's lake boa, so he got it. And lake boas have asked for stuff like bricks. My one has a brick. I've no idea why. They will ask for strangest things. Like, I used to have so much trouble walking, I'd walk with a cane or a staff everywhere. And like I said, I'll help you, but I need that staff. And I know if I start to have trouble walking and start to get all crippled up, I have to go to Lake Bo and be like, okay, I'm sorry, I really haven't been paying attention to you because I've been watching the Loki circus, you know, go around the house. And he's usually pretty good. But yeah, so it just might be a trickster thing where, you know, you'll be under the impression that everything's fine, and then you wake up and, like, everything's going crazy. And you're like, what did I possibly do? And it's nothing you did. It is nothing you did at all. It's just, it's Loki being Loki. It's part of his sacred nature, I think. And he'll be back to his even kill. I mean, he might be acting crazy and driving you nuts now, not giving you something you want, and it might be going on for months or years or whatever, but eventually, when he has made whatever point he thinks he's making, or he's satisfied himself, or whatever goes on in Loki's mind comes back around to the point where, you know, he can deal with you in a more, what we're used to as normal discourse, then he'll be okay, and it'll be like it never happened. And just, you know, be okay with him. I know it's hard, but be okay with him. Understand that, you know, some people feel he's not quite right in the head, and it's not his fault, it's just the way he is. And I don't say that to besmirch him. We have, like, a phobia of mental illness in this society. And to say openly that maybe there's something not quite right with your God is considered shaming the God, and it's not. He's just a little nuts. I think all creator gods are a little nutty. You kind of have to be crazy to, you know, want to sit around and create humans. I mean, look how well we turned out. So, yeah, just kind of, you know, deal with it. I mean, it maybe it's just a Norse god thing too, because I love Odin very dearly, but there are times that I've just asked him if their parents just bang their heads together as children repeatedly, and he just smiles. So yeah, I think they like being strange. I think it delights them. I think they like being contrary. I think they like keeping us guessing. Loki's once said that they kind of feel they kind of have to be entertaining so we don't get bored and go off and find another god, because the way most pagan gods are, they know very well you could walk off and get another god. No disrespect to Yahweh, but he's the only god that says, I have to be your god forever. Pagan gods are like, they kind of feel like they kind of have to put on a floor show sometimes and keep you entertained, and sometimes they have a very darn strange idea what a floor show is. So, I hope that helps, because Loki will do it with me, too. Like, I don't know now if there were pukas in the house or there were no pukas, because the pukas mysteriously disappeared. And Loki just looked rather like I'd figured something out, and I'm like, I don't even know anymore. I'm certifiably insane myself, because there's no sense trying to figure out anything Loki does. Please don't. You will drive yourself insane. You will. You will go crazy. But yeah, happy holidays, guys. So I got a lot of good stuff done. I got the Comcast stuff sent back. I have the application in as of, like last week. And I put the application in for the electric. So hopefully that'll work out. And if that all works out, even if the insurance will fall through, if the electric will work out between the electric and what it'll save on not having cable, it'll cover any penalties I get during tax season. And hopefully, if I was going to get a refund, which probably won't, but if I was going to get a refund, hopefully that will cover, that will cover it as well, and I won't get hit too hard during tax season. So, I hope this finds you well, and happy holidays, guys. I know 2 serious videos back to back, but I kind of wanted to cover that so that, it's not just you. It's not just Loki acting crazy or intolerant or rude to you. I know it seems like for everyone else they have this great relationship. It's just the people that work with Loki learn to count to 10, sometimes 100, sometimes 1,000. Sometimes they learn not to pay attention to Loki for a while. It's not just you. It's Loki. He can be more than a handful of a god. And some people will think that's disrespectful to say of a god. Well, they've never worked with Loki. And yeah, he can be a handful. He can want something and then you give it to him and he doesn't want it, and his favorite thing is suddenly something he hates, and then the thing he hated, he wants that, and why don't you love me? And then you love him and he's like, I don't want you to love me, go away. And it's basically like having a cat for a god. Just give up, surrender at some points, and be like, okay, I know you can't help yourself. This is just you. He's never going to be normal, calm god. Loki will be, climbing the wall someday, and, well, not literally, and you'll just be like, alright, just don't fall off the ceiling, and if you do, don't die, and if you die, don't just, like, haunt me or something, okay? Alright, fine, climb the ceiling. And, he's just like that. And, he can take it into his head to like something and then, like, get mad at it. So, like, he might like this video, and then he might decide he's mad at me for it, and then he might decide he loves me again, and then he'll decide he gets mad again. And I didn't want to do it out of disrespect, but I think people do have to kind of know that, Loki's this really intense ride. And that's why sometimes when people say when you're going to meet Loki, they're like, they try to get you the ideal situation of, like, meeting him and everything, because we know how intense he is. And we know how horribly wrong stuff can go with him. So we try to, like, set up the best possible thing for you, though 9 times out of 10 what happens is that Loki just shows up in your life unannounced, and forget about trying to greet him properly. He's already in your face and he's being really intense. And, everybody has something different. There might be people out there that they work with Loki and they don't hear a peep out of him. There are days I envy them. I love you, Loki, but he knows what I mean. He can get into everything, but he can also be a great comfort. Like, I was walking home, and with my vision and with how highly reflective you see all the glare I get off these glasses, well, that bounces right into my eyes too. And I could not tell if I was stepping on ice or it was just wet out. And I was, like, the whole way home, because I didn't wear my cleats, just wear my, like, regular shoes. I was just trying not to fall, and he's beside me, he's talking to me and talking me through it. So he can be very loving and compassionate when it counts. 99.9% of the time. That 1.1% of the time he can be a jerk when it counts, but usually he's, he's there, he cares, and he watches out for his own. He is a handful. He does definitely have that side to him that, I would not walk up to him any day of the week and say, I'm going to be crazy, because he's the Lord of crazy. He will just out-crazy me. So, you know what I mean. Some people, I don't know why they get attracted to Loki, because they're like, they'll outdo Loki. You will never outdo Loki. Ever. Ever. And if you did, he would just get spiteful, and you do not want to see him spiteful. You never want to see him spiteful. You never want to see him bored. You never want to see him mad. Those 3 things you don't want to see, because mad usually lives to spiteful, and then after he's done being spiteful, then he's bored. So yeah, he's a handful. He's a sacred handful, but he is a handful, and I love him dearly. But he will break random things and he won't apologize. Like, I had a lamp break. He loves breaking my lamps. He's like, oh, lamp. And then break it. Like, at this point, I'm, like, finding lamps to put on just so he has something to break and play with and doesn't play with anything else. So, yeah. He's a handful. He's a great guy to work with, but he's a handful, so it isn't just you. So, I hope you guys like what you see. Usually, those of us that work with him, we put the best Loki forward possible, but it isn't just you. You're not insane. He doesn't hate you. He acts that way with everyone. Sometimes Queen Bish shows up, and Queen Bish ain't having none of you, and she mad at you today, and she gonna give it to you, and you're like, what did I even do? And you didn't have to do anything. That's just Loki. That's just Loki. If he was a cat, he'd like claw up the drapes that day and like poop in your shoes and ruin the whole house and just look at you and go, look what I did. And you'll say, what did I even do? And he'll just shrug his shoulders. He don't know. So I hope you like that. I hope Loki doesn't mind. I don't think he will. But yeah, we should talk about the negatives of working with him because for Christians, their negative is they pray and they don't get answered and their God lets them suffer or however they see it and they're really upset or they get a traumatic loss and, that's for them. Their God usually doesn't go crazy and like do nutso things and break things and everything else. Only Loki. Only precious Loki. Can't you see letting him loose in like the Linux factory? All that glass, he'd be like, oh, how pretty. Okay, I will let you guys go and I will see you later. Bye bye.